Three massive drug busts. Three completely different methods. Three separate years. 2024. Liverpool. Cannabis hidden inside Canadian furniture. 334 kilograms. Perfect concealment. Destroyed in minutes. 2025. Transatlantic yacht. 600 kilograms of cocaine planned. Racing yacht as cover. Operation collapsed before it even started. 2026. Kent. Heroin hidden in fish tanks. 73-year-old removal company owners caught red-handed in Netherlands. 3 operations, 3 different networks, all destroyed by police. But here's what nobody realized at the time. In a small cafe in Kent, 3 elderly men whispered over coffee. Hidden microphones captured every word. The consultant said Wednesday crossings are safest. He's been right about everything so far. The consultant. What if all 3 operations weren't separate? What if they were all designed by the same person? A criminal mastermind who turned drug smuggling into a consulting business, who charged £250,000 per operation, who guaranteed 80% success rates, who collected £3.7 million over 9 years while never touching a single gram of drugs himself. Hit subscribe right now because this story exposes the genius who designed 47 smuggling operations across the UK and who's still out there, still free, still designing. September 2023. Liverpool. Wei Chen had a problem. He was 29 years old, running a cannabis import operation from Canada. Small postal shipments worked fine, a few kilograms here and there, reliable, safe, but slow. Chen wanted to scale up, import 300 kilograms at once, maybe more, but he had no idea how to do it without getting caught. That's when someone gave him an encrypted contact, a referral from another cannabis importer who'd successfully moved product through UK ports. The contact's name? The Consultant. Chen sent an encrypted message. Within hours, he got a response, an invitation to a video call. Voice disguised, face hidden behind digital blur. The consultant spoke calmly, professionally, like a business consultant discussing logistics. You've been testing routes with small shipments. Good, that's the foundation. Now we scale, using the legitimate freight method. He explained the entire design over that one call. 334 kilograms of cannabis from Chen's Canadian supplier, vacuum-sealed into packages, hidden inside mattresses, 8 bed frames with matching mattresses, all loaded into an orange shipping container. Standard furniture freight, Canada to Port of Liverpool. Cover story, clean business registration, legitimate furniture import paperwork, everything perfect. The shipment would clear customs and go to a storage facility rented under a false business name. But here's where the consultant's genius showed. Most smugglers rush. They collect their product immediately after customs clearance. That's exactly when customs surveillance is watching. You need to wait. Let the container sit for 48 hours. Let it become boring. Let customs lose interest. Then collect. The fee structure was simple. £250,000 up front for the complete design. If the operation succeeded, an additional 10% of the street value. In Chen's case, that would be another £500,000. Chen agreed. Between September and December 2023, Chen ran test shipments exactly as the consultant had designed. Small loads, perfect success rate every single time. January 2024, time for the big one. The 334-kilogram shipment. The container left Canada, crossed the Atlantic Ocean, arrived at Liverpool port, cleared customs without any issues, moved to the storage facility exactly as planned. Chen waited the full 48 hours, just like the consultant had instructed. Everything was working perfectly, except for one detail the consultant hadn't known about. Cheshire police had been watching Chen's test shipments for months. They weren't suspicious of the method itself. They were tracking Chen specifically. January 16, 2024, 9 a.m. Wei Chen, John Cannella, and Luke Cannella arrived at the storage unit, unlocked the container, began unloading the mattresses. Armed officers moved in from all sides. Inside those 8 bed frames, 668 vacuum-sealed packages, 334 kilograms of cannabis. Street value, over £3 million. Sentences: Wei Chen, 7 years. John Cannella, 6 years, 6 months. Luke Cannella, 4 years. When police examined Chen's phone, they found encrypted messages referencing consultant fee paid and method worked perfectly until arrest. Police assumed consultant meant a lawyer or an accountant. They had absolutely no idea what they'd just stumbled onto.
Late 2018. Chelmsford, Essex. Lee McLennan had a vision. He was 57 years old. His encrochat handle was Cat with 9 lives. He wanted to import 600 kilograms of cocaine, not through commercial ports, not hidden in shipping containers, via private yacht. Complete avoidance of commercial port security. A transatlantic crossing disguised as a legitimate sporting event. He contacted the consultant through an encrypted referral. The consultant's response? Possible, but we need to test it first. The design was audacious. 600 kilograms of cocaine from South America, hidden aboard a racing yacht. Route, St. Lucia in the Caribbean to Lagos, Portugal. Cover, participation in a transatlantic sailing race. The innovation was brilliant. Use legitimate events as cover, the consultant explained. Maritime police don't search race participants. Too much political risk if they're wrong. You hide in plain sight among sportsmen. But the consultant insisted on something before committing to the real operation. A dummy run. Never risk product until the route is proven, he said. Run the race once clean, learn the ports, document timing, study inspection patterns, then do it for real. Ian Margie, a 68-year-old professional sailor, was recruited to captain the vessel. 2019. Margie sailed the yacht Ocean Magic in that year's transatlantic race. He documented everything. Which ports inspected vessels, where to make contact away from authorities, how long the crossing took, weather conditions to expect. Perfect intelligence gathering. Early 2020, preparations for the real operation began. A second yacht called Satirius was purchased. Daniel Braithwaite was dispatched to Venezuela to meet with cartel representatives. 600 kilograms of cocaine was ready to load. Race registration was complete. The fee? £250,000 up front, plus an estimated £8 to £10 million additional, 10% of the street value if successful. Then, May 2020 happened. COVID-19 pandemic. The race was cancelled. The entire operation collapsed. McLennan pivoted. The consultant redesigned the operation, shifted strategy to cannabis via shipping containers instead. New routes: South Africa, Vancouver. March 2022, Tilbury port seizure. 448 kilograms of cannabis hidden in a machine lathe from South Africa. July 2023, Southampton port seizure. 268 kilograms of cannabis hidden in industrial toolboxes from Vancouver. Combined seizures, 716 kilograms. June 2020, EncroChat was breached. McLennan's messages were exposed. Photos of Tolbert meeting with Venezuelan cartels were recovered. October 2024, sentencing. Lee McLennan, 30 years. Lee Tolbert, 23 years. Daniel Braithwaite, 22 years. Ian Margie, 20 years. 6 others, combined 16+ years. Total, 111 years imprisonment. In McLennan's encrypted messages, investigators found multiple references to the architect, the designer, the consultant who planned the yacht route. Police assumed he was referring to cartel contacts in South America. They didn't investigate any further.
June 2020. Kent. Brian Wright was 73 years old. He'd been running P&D removals since 1972. 48 years of legitimate freight and removal services. Perfect cover for one big score before retirement. His partners? Mark Ewell, 64, Alfred Rumbold, 65, fellow veteran haulers who'd spent decades in the business. Wright contacted the consultant through a referral from a Merseyside crime group. The design was simple but clever. 55 kilograms of mixed drugs, 20.5 kilograms of heroin, 32 kilograms of cocaine, 3 kilograms of MDMA, hidden inside large glass fish tanks, adhesive linings and silicone sealant compartments concealing the product. The route? Kent to Netherlands for a legitimate delivery, then returned to UK after Dutch contacts added the drugs. The cover: P&D Removal's 48-year legitimate business history. The innovation: at your age, with your business history, you're invisible, the consultant told them. Customs doesn't suspect 73-year-old removal company owners. That's your advantage. Use routine as camouflage. Like always, the consultant insisted on a dummy run first. July 2020. Wright, Ewell, and Rumbold met in a small cafe on the outskirts of Kent. 3 elderly men hunched over coffee, whispering about their plans. What they didn't know, the National Crime Agency had been tipped off by an informant from the Merseyside crime group. Hidden microphones captured their entire planning session, including this phrase: "The consultant said Wednesday crossings are safest. He's been right about everything so far. If everything goes to plan, we're about to hit the jackpot." The dummy run happened exactly as the consultant designed. Wright drove an empty lorry to Netherlands, assessed border checks, studied ferry timing, documented inspection patterns, made detailed notes on his phone. NCA surveillance watched the entire journey, documented every movement. 1 week later, the real operation began. Wright loaded his lorry with glass fish tanks, each one containing compartments filled with drugs. Total value, £4.5 million. He crossed into Netherlands. Before he could make the delivery, Dutch police, coordinating with the NCA, surrounded the lorry near Utrecht. Wright was arrested. The fish tanks were dismantled. The drugs were discovered. November 2021. Sentencing. Mark Ewell, 14 years. Alfred Rumbold, 14 years. Brian Wright, 12 years. Total, 40 years imprisonment. Among Wright's seized phones, investigators found encrypted messages about consultant guarantees and design fees already paid. Again, police assumed it was business consultancy, financial planning, legal advice. They didn't investigate. 3 major busts, 3 different methods, 3 separate years. All 3 mentioned consultant,
All three referenced design fees. All three talked about methods and routes planned by someone else, and nobody connected the dots. How did police miss the pattern 3 times before someone finally noticed? Drop your answer in the comments, because what happened next changed everything. If this is blowing your mind, hit that like button right now. Comment, which method was most genius, furniture, yacht, or fish tanks?
Late 2024. National Crime Agency Headquarters. Detective Sergeant Sarah Mitchell sat at her desk, reviewing files from 3 major drug cases she'd worked on over the past few years. Mitchell had been the EncroChat data analyst on all 3 investigations: Chen's cannabis operation, McLennan's yacht conspiracy, Wright's fish tank smuggling. Something had been bothering her for months, a nagging feeling she couldn't shake. The language in the encrypted messages, the terminology, it was too similar across cases that were supposed to be completely unrelated. Chen's messages? Consultant fee paid. Method worked perfectly. McLennan's messages? The architect's route design. Consultant planned yacht operation. Wright's messages? Consultant said Wednesday crossings safest. Design fee transferred. Different cases, different years, different methods, but the same words kept appearing: consultant, designer, architect. November 2024. Mitchell requested permission to conduct a full cross-reference analysis of all 3 investigations. She started with the finances. Chen's encrypted phone showed a £250,000 transfer to an offshore account in September 2023. McLennan's phone showed a £250,000 transfer to a similar offshore account structure in December 2019. Wright's phone showed a £250,000 transfer to the same type of offshore setup in June 2020. All 3 payments, exact same amount, similar offshore account structures routed through the Cayman Islands, same cryptocurrency conversion methods, sent within weeks of their operations being finalized. Next, Mitchell ran a keyword search across the entire EncroChat database. She searched for consultant, designer, architect, method design, route planning. The results made her blood run cold. 47 matches across 12 different criminal networks, spanning from 2016 to 2024. Messages that reference things like, consultant success rate is 80% plus. If the design fails, we get a full refund. He never meets face-to-face. He designed the banana route, a reference to a completely separate smuggling case. The consultant knows every port vulnerability in the UK. Mitchell printed every single message, spread them across a conference room wall, started connecting the dots. The revelation was staggering. For nearly a decade, a single individual had been designing drug smuggling operations across the United Kingdom, charging £250,000 per complete design, guaranteeing success rates above 80%, operating entirely remotely, never meeting clients, never touching drugs. The estimated scope of what she was looking at least 15 major criminal networks serviced over 9 years, over £500 million worth of drugs successfully imported, £3.7 million in consulting fees collected, an 87% success rate. And British police had never known this person existed. Not until November 2024, not until one analyst finally noticed the pattern everyone else had missed. This wasn't just a criminal. This was someone who'd turned drug smuggling into a consulting business, like hiring an architect to design a house, except the house was a criminal operation, and the architect was charging £250,000 per blueprint.
December 2024. The National Crime Agency launched Operation Architect, a dedicated task force with one mission: identify the consultant. The challenge was massive. No name, no face, no direct contact with any arrested criminal. All communications conducted through encrypted platforms. All payments made via cryptocurrency and offshore accounts. But Mitchell's team had one advantage. They had 9 years of encrypted messages to analyze. The breakthrough came from a phone seized during the McLennan investigation. One message thread hadn't been fully deleted. A partial conversation from November 2018. Consultant says meet at Liverpool dock for payment. Cash only. Bring 250,000. Liverpool docks, November 2018. A specific date buried in the message metadata. Mitchell's team pulled CCTV footage from that location and time period. They found it. A meeting between a McLennan associate and an unidentified man. 50s, average build, baseball cap obscuring most of his face. Facial recognition came back with no matches to any criminal database. But gait analysis, the way a person walks, matched another CCTV appearance from a completely different location. Manchester, a shipping office, July 2017. The team obtained visitor logs from that Manchester shipping office for July 2017. One name appeared: David Mercer, listed as freight consultant. Background check on David Mercer. Age 52. Former logistics manager for a major shipping company. Employed from 2000 to 2014. Made redundant in 2014 after 14 years of service. No criminal record whatsoever. Area of expertise: international freight operations, customs regulations, port security protocols. Everything clicked into place. David Mercer had spent 14 years moving goods across borders legally. He knew every customs loophole, every port vulnerability, every freight company weakness. When he was made redundant at 48 years old, he'd realized that knowledge was worth far more than his salary had ever been. Financial investigation revealed the full picture. Mercer's declared income for tax purposes between 2015 and 2024, £45,000 per year from consultation work. His actual estimated income based on traced cryptocurrency conversions, £3.7 million. Tax evasion alone, £2.1 million owed. January 2025. An arrest warrant was issued for David Mercer. Charges: 27 counts of conspiracy to import Class A and Class B drugs, money laundering of £3.7 million, tax evasion of £2.1 million. February 3, 2025, 6 a.m. Armed officers surrounded Mercer's home in Cheshire. They forced entry, cleared every room. He wasn't there. David Mercer had fled 24 hours before the raid. Inside his home office, investigators found treasure. Detailed case files on 15-plus smuggling operations, complete with names, dates, and methods. Design blueprints for drug concealment techniques. Hand-drawn diagrams showing exactly how to hide product in furniture, fish tanks, yacht compartments. Port security assessment documents. Detailed analysis of which UK ports had the weakest inspection protocols. Financial ledgers tracking every consulting fee payment received since 2015. Encrypted devices, password protected.
March 2025. Forensic teams finally cracked those encrypted devices. What they found inside was beyond anything they'd expected. Mercer's complete client database. 47 criminal networks served between 2015 and 2024. Chen's cannabis furniture route. McLennan's yacht cocaine plan. Wright's fish tank heroin smuggling. Plus 44 other operations across the UK that police had either never detected or had investigated without ever finding the common connection. Mercer had kept meticulous records of everything. Success metrics tracked like a legitimate business. Total operations designed, 47. Successful imports, 41. That's an 87% success rate. Failed operations, 6. 4 failures due to client errors, 2 due to design flaws that Mercer had documented and learned from. Total drugs imported, estimated 15+ tons. Total street value, over £500 million. Total consulting fees collected, £3.7 million. Current status of those 47 operations? 18 criminal networks had been arrested and convicted, including Chen, McLennan, and Wright. 29 networks were still operating, still using Mercer's designs, never detected by police. And David Mercer himself? Still at large. Last confirmed sighting, February 2025, Manchester Airport, boarding a flight to Dubai. International arrest warrant issued. Red notice active. But David Mercer has something no other fugitive has. He knows every smuggling route, every port vulnerability, every customs loophole in the United Kingdom, because he's the one who designed them all.
April 2025. National Crime Agency press conference. We've identified a criminal consultant who designed drug smuggling operations for 47 networks across the UK. Total estimated imports, £500 million in drugs. He's currently a fugitive, believed to be in the Middle East. We're working with international partners to apprehend him. That's what they told the public. Here's what they didn't announce. Since David Mercer's identity was revealed in February, the NCA has detected 6 new smuggling consultants offering similar services across Europe. Encrypted advertisements on dark web forums, professional route design, 80% plus success guarantee, no direct involvement, complete operational blueprints. Copycat operations using Mercer's exact methods. Furniture concealment, fish tank hiding, yacht transportation. The model survived. Mercer proved something that changed organized crime forever. Drug smuggling could be outsourced to specialists. Criminal masterminds didn't need to touch drugs. They could just design the operations, collect their fees, and disappear. Current intelligence estimates there are 12 to 15 consultants now operating across Europe. Fee structures range from £100,000 to £500,000 per operation. Some specialize in maritime routes, others focus on air cargo, still others concentrate on land freight. Mercer pioneered the consulting model for drug smuggling. Now it's an industry. 3 major busts, 168+ years in prison sentences combined. Chen serving 7 years, McLennan serving 30, Wright serving 12. All designed by one man who charged £250,000 per operation. 47 networks served, 15+ tons of drugs imported, £3.7 million collected in fees. 18 networks arrested, 29 still operating with his designs, and David Mercer still out there. He knows every smuggling route, every port vulnerability, every customs loophole. Because he's the one who invented them. The consultant built an empire out of blueprints. Then he franchised those blueprints to dozens of criminal networks. And even though he's gone, his designs remain, being used, being copied, being improved upon. 29 criminal networks are still out there right now, moving drugs through UK ports using methods that David Mercer designed years ago. Methods that have an 87% success rate. How do you catch someone who knows every smuggling trick because he invented them? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because that's the question keeping the National Crime Agency awake at night. Share this video. 29 networks designed by the consultant are still operating somewhere in the UK right now. Someone out there might have information. Subscribe to Dark Truth Files and hit that notification bell, because this manhunt is far from over. David Mercer is still free, still in Dubai, still potentially consulting for new criminal networks. And the methods he created? They're not going away anytime soon. The consultant may be gone, but his legacy is just beginning. 3 drug busts, 3 different methods, 1 mastermind. David Mercer, former logistics manager who turned drug smuggling into a consulting business. Charged £250,000 per operation. Guaranteed 80% plus success. Collected £3.7 million. Designed 47 operations, 15 plus tons imported, 500 plus million pounds street value, 18 networks arrested, 29 still operating with his designs, and David Mercer, still out there. He knows every drug smuggling trick. He invented them.